Hello world! The infamous cybercrime forum BreachForums relaunched a few days ago after the original site was shut down thanks to the FBI's arrest of its owner, Pom. The launch of BreachForums 2.0 was met with excitement within the cybercriminal community. However, barely a week after it came back online, BreachForums has itself been breached. The site's entire user database was posted on a rival cybercrime forum called Honeypot by its admin Dakota, a new character we haven't seen on this channel before. And if you're wondering why Honeypot would attack BreachForums, well, in an interview with databreaches.net, Honeypot admin Dakota basically explains that he just wasn't happy with BreachForums getting all the attention recently. He said he felt the media needed a little bit of a wake-up call, reality check, so instead of them discussing skid insecure forums, why not discuss actually good forums? And I suppose his methods worked, because here we are, talking about Honeypot. The owner of BreachForums, Shiny Hunters, wasn't too happy, and was forced to post an apology to his users, and accused Dakota of clout chasing. As for that leaked database, it contains the email addresses of all BreachForums 4,000 users, and it doesn't look like BreachForums 2.0 has learned the lessons of 1.0, because the IP address that each user signed up with, as well as the last IP they used to access the site, are all in here. Let's not forget, after the original BreachForums was shut down, the FBI harnessed its database of logged IPs to incriminate Pom. You would have thought BreachForums 2.0 would have learned lessons from this and been a bit more careful with its users' OPSEC, but apparently not. But Shiny Hunters played down the breach, saying those IPs are mostly just VPN Tor IPs, and whilst that is technically correct, a cyber intel firm analysed the breach, showing almost a third of BreachForums users do actually connect via their original IP. But in fairness, a good chunk of these people will only be visiting the site out of some kind of dark curiosity, like me. As for how the hack was perpetrated in the first place, Shiny Hunters says this was down to an automatic backup of their forum software, which presumably somehow made its way onto a publicly accessible portion of their servers. However, in the interview with Honeypot, its admin Dakota claims to possess a MyBB 0-day, as in a currently private exploit, which he also used to hack yet another rival cybercrime forum called Exposed. Now, I struggle to believe someone would risk burning a 0-day just to spite someone, but that's essentially what's being claimed here. And regardless, I do look forward to seeing what comes next in the cybercrime forum wars. Also, that alleged MyBB 0-day is apparently on sale for $15,000. In retaliation for the hack of BreachForums, its owner, Shiny Hunters, exposed the true IP address of Honeypot, which would make it easier for someone to screw with them, possibly in a DDoS attack, because typically cybercrime forums use a service like Cloudflare or DDoS Guard, which obscures their true IP. But in this case, I'm not sure what Shiny Hunters was hoping to achieve by posting their IP, because Honeypot doesn't use either of these services, and their real IP can be obtained with a simple ping. One of the main questions I asked in my recent video on the return of BreachForums was whether it was some kind of FBI honeypot. And whilst that might sound a bit conspiratorial, it wouldn't be the first time. Let's not forget, when Raid Forums was seized by law enforcement last year, the forum didn't immediately get plastered with a seizure banner. Instead, every page on the site redirected to the login page, which authorities were using to scoop up the creds of its cyber miscreant user base. And we pretty much know it was authorities doing this because the name servers that the domain started pointing to were identical to that of other seized domains, and just a month or so later, it eventually got plastered with a seizure banner itself. So when BreachForums mysteriously rebooted with only a very short message from its former admin, it was a bit sus. The whole thing just felt a bit clinical. On top of that, the previous original BreachForums domain still hosted a message warning people not to trust any new site claiming to be a reincarnation of BreachForums, and that BreachForums will never return. But there's been some developments on this front. BreachForums admin, Baphomet, made a post saying he wanted to address some concerns relating to the old BreachForums domains that are attempting to discredit his community. To make it clear for everyone, the old domains were taken pretty shortly after Pom's arrest, and he essentially claims that the FBI or some other three-letter agency put up the warning as a kind of psyop to dissuade people from using BreachForums 2.0. But is this true? Well, if we take a look at the Wayback Machine, we can see after BreachForums shut down in late March, the site started returning errors and the whole domain eventually went dark. Until the 4th of June, which is when that warning mysteriously appeared. At the same time, the domain started pointing to new infrastructure, an indication that someone had somehow taken control of it. Was it the FBI? Well, on June 20th, after the breach of BreachForums, that warning message was updated to say the BreachForums clone has already been hacked, and it linked to a download of the hacked database itself. Not something I can imagine the FBI doing. And on top of that, I found a bunch of unindexed pages on the domain containing, well, porn. So yeah, this wasn't the FBI. I think it's become clear that someone who just isn't too fond of BreachForums' new management somehow gains control of the domain just to screw with them. However, as of a couple of days ago, the domain was actually seized by law enforcement, with it now hosting a seizure banner, and the FBI even went so far as to Photoshop little handcuffs onto Pom-Pom-Purin. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Cybercriminal Forum Wars, and let me know in the comments what you make of these new developments. At this point, I think it's clear that BreachForums 2.0 is simply not some kind of three-letter agency honeypot. There's just way too much typical hacker forum drama for that to be believable. But if you want to see what a true FBI honeypot looks like, check out my video on the Anom messaging app. I'll make sure to link that down in the description. And regardless of whether BreachForums 2.0 is a honeypot or not, it might as well be, because as we've seen with Raid Forums and BreachForums 1.0, the databases of both did eventually fall into the hands of authorities. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this little update, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.